In 2015, I was invited to work on a project in the heart of one of Central America's vast rainforests. I set out with 50 Maya leaders to stake the boundaries of their land rights victory. I had on thick black rubber boots, duct tape to seal off my sleeves, and a scarf around my neck to keep out these giant flying ants the size of golf balls. And they still got in. The Maya had on shorts, t-shirts, and all carried machetes to make our way through the thick brush. As we set out, I grabbed only a handful of almonds and a small bottle of water, for we had planned to be back in town for lunch. But as we made our way through the dense forest without any trails, we quickly realized it was going to be at least a 12-hour day. It was hot and muggy, and as I stepped over giant anthills and crawled under fallen trees, I started to get worried that I didn't bring enough food or water with me. Sensing my concern, one of the Maya leaders reached up and grabbed some seeds from a nearby tree, then some fruit and a coconut which he opened with his machete. He handed them to me, smiled as if he knew a secret, and kept walking. 4 hours in, everyone stopped, pulled together palm leaves that had fallen from the trees, and we all sat and shared some more food. We spent the day in curiosity, in appreciation, laughter, and nourishment straight from the earth. We got to the end of the boundary line, covered in mud, but full of energy. And what struck me was that they were never afraid of not having enough. We were a natural food forest where there was abundance all around. We live in a world with the potential for limitless abundance when we work with each other and our Mother Earth properly from our own true beauty. What I've experienced in the past decade working with Indigenous communities in some of the most remote, beautiful, and tough places in the world is that there is more that connects us than separates us. There is a thread that weaves through us all. But it is the diversity within our unity that is our superpower as a humanity. Did you know that the more diverse an ecosystem, the more successful? Across the world today, people are seeking to rebuild and reestablish connection with ourselves, with each other, and with our Mother Earth. It is in cultivating these relationships that makes a life economy flourish. We're facing tough times ahead. We'll get through it by coming together, each contributing our own unique knowledge and wisdom as sovereign beings to innovate a new way forward that allows all life to prosper. The good news is that we have the master teacher to guide the way, our Mother Earth, who's got, but 1 billion years of experience. We all came to this Earth school to learn, to play, to experience, and to grow. What we often forget is that we are not creators in a vacuum. We are co-creators. We are in constant relationship with one another and with the world around us. And so we can choose to interact with reverence, respect, kindness, generosity, beauty, curiosity, imagination, and awe. And we will create food forests and thriving futures. Or we can focus only on our own track in front of us, and we will create a desert. This is where my story begins. I started my career 15 years ago as a corporate lawyer at the top law firm in Canada. I ran billion-dollar deals that you read about on the front page of the newspaper. I lived in a shiny condo in the most desirable part of town with a closet full of designer clothing. And I traveled the world to exotic destinations. My life seemed pretty perfect, and having come from humble beginnings, I felt like I had finally made it. So why was I so miserable? I struggled with crippling anxiety, low-grade fevers that went on for weeks, popping Advil like candy. And I was angry at the world at the suffering, the injustice, inequalities, and ecological destruction I saw firsthand in our endless pursuit of growth. More than anything, I felt helpless and hopeless about our way out of this mess. Then in 2013, at a conference in Vancouver, I met an Indigenous elder with this larger-than-life personality and deep love for his people. He shared with me the story of taking his nation from poverty to prosperity while working with the land and community values. Now, it wasn't perfect, having done it against all odds almost 40 years ago, but it was a place to start, and it worked. Over the next 2 weeks, we spoke about creating an organization that shared experiences connecting communities across the world to exchange wise practice and support in rebuilding natural leaders and economies. The next day, I walked into my law firm offices and quit. 1 week later, the Global Indigenous Development Trust was born. I sold my condo and donated much of my clothing, trading in my high heels for hiking boots. I jumped with my entire soul into the unknown because I knew it was the right direction. It was extremely frightening, but liberating and empowering at the same time. On my journey over the next 10 years, I became an explorer of myself and our limitless potential in this Earth School. I've been invited to work with communities across the Americas, Africa, and Asia, to the heights of 5,000 meters in the Andes, working with the ancient Inca cultures. Swam in the living rivers and traversed forests of the Amazon with the Shuar, the Zapara, and Huarani nations. Stood on the front lines of conflict zones fighting for justice. In the heart of darkness of South America's mining industry, working for a more equitable way. Participated in revolutions and democratic elections in Cambodia, Egypt, Mexico, and Ukraine. Defended human rights and incorporated businesses in a multitude of jurisdictions. Above all, what I have experienced is the sheer beauty of the woven tapestry that is our cultural diversity on this planet. The uninhibited kindness and generosity of the Garifuna, the richness of history and power of tradition of the Dogon people of Mali, the vibrancy of the Amazon reflected in the eyes of its people. Everywhere I have been, people want to be seen, to contribute, and to be valued. Our collective way forward is a way of collaboration and learning from one another. Last February, we hosted an intercultural dialogue between the Dogon people of Mali and the First Nations leaders in Canada. They shared stories of their culture, experiences, struggles, hopes for their people, and ways of working with our natural resources from a place of honor and respect. I was in awe. They shared with open hearts and a desire to truly see one another. And the knowledge that came out was astounding. We don't need to tell the Indigenous or Africans or any other impoverished nation what to do. Traditional cultures across the globe have thrived for thousands of years with complex societal structures. The Iroquois had no need for prisons, for they taught good character. Across Africa, traditional governance systems fostered holistic decision-making. These natural economies thrived because they were local, based in abundance and reciprocity, and worked in partnership with our Mother Earth. Being of Ukrainian heritage and having grown up with very patriotic grandparents who were part of the independence movements during the Soviet era, I learned from an early age the devastating impact of external, unnatural systems being imposed, of losing one's land, identity, and way of life, and the value and importance of being rooted in culture. Our job is not to provide solutions. We hope to assist in rebuilding these beautiful cultures, and if we are fortunate, go and learn from their schools. I think we can all agree that the infinite growth model based on scarcity has gone way off course. But I am glad to say that there are examples of natural ways that are time-tested. We are not going back to living in the forest, but we can bring the forest mindset into our way forward. Indigenous wisdom is more than 10,000 years of direct observation and application of nature's intelligence. Our Mother Earth has more than 1 billion years of experience in complex engineering, design, chemistry, construction, community, cooperation, innovation. How amazing are the critters, the animals, the forests, the engineering marvels of creation. We still have not surpassed the water filtration system of a tree, the anti-gravity technology of salmon swimming upriver, the aerodynamics of a kingfisher bird, or a maple leaf seed as it floats to the ground. When a tree comes down, it adds to the soil and fosters new growth. Can you imagine building structures that create zero waste? The learning and innovation is endless. Even in an urban jungle, you will see these miracles unfolding if you pay attention. Yes, we can co-create a beautiful, thriving, and abundant world, one that is in harmony with our Mother Earth, where the rivers run clean, we have fresh food to eat, each is valued for our true worth, and our economy reflects that. A grandmother's embrace, a newborn smile, a vibrant forest, a cultural asset, traditional knowledge. Where Mother Earth's goods and services are valued intact as givers of life. Can you believe that currently a tree is worth more dead than alive? One day our grandkids will laugh that this was ever the case. Through our work, we are building models of local economies that work with our life systems, making them better through the decisions that we make. We value moose calving areas and fish spawning beds as key components of a living system. We consider migration routes of caribou when deciding where to put in a road. And this innovation is happening across the globe with bioregional regeneration projects, time banks, and digital barter systems. Life economy is total holistic consideration. And when we account for true value, our economy can be 1,000 times bigger. But in order for us to see the value that each one of us and our Mother Earth contributes, we need to slow down. A consideration of more takes time to think things through. It is greater complexity, not less. Technology has advanced so much that we now have incredible tools to connect and learn from one another and to better understand our natural world. We are using GIS and IoT to make more informed decisions, and Web3 to empower local trade. But a tree can only grow as tall as its roots are strong. And so we must take the time to cultivate comprehensive foundations. And this requires us to align with nature's rhythms. This was my hardest lesson. As I pursued meaningful work, I continued to go hard and fast and was quickly reaching burnout again. I finally realized that if I didn't take the time to cultivate my most important relationship, I would never achieve the ambitious goals that I had set. Meditation became a daily must to cultivate calm within myself, and it was the Indigenous grandmothers who reminded me of the importance of leading from my heart. On my journey, I have seen the worst and the best of the human spirit. What I have learned is that it is the intangible wealth, the strength of character, the integrity, the discipline, the humility, the kindness, truth, and generosity that make communities successful and are the real gems that ancestors leave behind. That living your best life requires daily choices, and that happiness is founded in integrity and discipline, for it takes discipline to live a life of integrity. Many of the elders I've been blessed to work with and learn from over the years talk about the importance of going out onto the trop lines or fishing, because it strengthened character and built great teams. It was a community affair, everyone coming together, sharing, telling stories, contributing, adding value. Last summer, I was out in my mentor's territory, out in northwestern British Columbia, fishing with his family for sockeye salmon in the Stickeen River. They had a big catch and asked if I could help preserve all of this salmon for winter. I jumped at the chance to learn a new skill. And over the next 3 days, a group of us worked 14-hour days to gut, clean, smoke, and jar these 68 salmon, each the size of my arm, weighing 15 pounds. My arms were sore, I was eaten alive by mosquitoes, and every square inch of me smelt like salmon. But all I noticed was the incredible feeling of contribution, of relating from the heart, and the camaraderie that comes from working together for a meaningful goal. I believe this is the greatest time to be in this Earth School, for we have the opportunity to come together beyond belief, ethnicity, and identity, to heal our collective past, and to co-create a way forward with love in our hearts and respect for all life. But I must warn you, as you step into the path as a co-creator in the living story, with awe in your minds and hearts, be prepared to be wowed and inspired by life and its limitless potential. Thank you.